Puthajjhana, Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahant. Pugallapanati provides a detailed and systematic classification of different types of individuals based on their spiritual attainments and characteristics. It is an important text for understanding the stages of spiritual development and the variety of personalities and qualities found among practitioners on the Buddhist path. Key aspects and contents of the Pugallapanati include classifying individuals. The text categorizes individuals into primary types based on their level of spiritual development and insight. These categories are Puthajjhana, refer to ordinary individuals who have not yet attained any stages of enlightenment or realization. The word Puthajjhana is derived from Pali, the canonical language of Theravada Buddhism, and it is often translated as worldling or ordinary person. Key characteristics and qualities of a Puthajjhana in Buddhism include lack of spiritual attainment. Puthajjhanas have not yet achieved any level of spiritual awakening or insight into the true nature of reality. They are still bound by ignorance and the defilements that perpetuate the cycle of birth and death samsara. Attachment to sensual pleasures. Ordinary individuals tend to be driven by desires for sensual pleasures, such as seeking gratification through the senses and pursuing material possessions and worldly pleasures. Limited understanding of the Dharma. Puthajjhanas may have some exposure to Buddhist teachings, but they have not yet developed a deep understanding of the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, or cultivated the insight necessary to transcend suffering. Identification with self. Ordinary individuals often have a strong sense of self-identity and ego, which leads to the proliferation of self-centered thoughts and actions. Bound by ignorance, Puthajjhanas are still influenced by ignorance, avidya and the three root defilements, greed lobha, hatred dosa, and delusion moha, subject to rebirth. As long as individuals remain ordinary worldlings, they are subject to the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth samsara, due to their attachment to worldly desires and ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. The goal of Buddhist practice is to transcend the state of being a Puthajjhana by cultivating wisdom, compassion, and moral virtue through the practice of meditation, ethical conduct, and the development of insight vipassana. Individuals can gradually overcome ignorance and defilements, leading to spiritual progress and ultimately liberation from the cycle of suffering. At the advanced stages of the path, one can attain enlightenment and become free from the limitations of an ordinary worldling, reaching higher levels of realization, such as stream entry, Sotapanna, once returner, Sakadagami, non-returner, Anagami, and Arahantship. Sotapanna, often translated as stream enterer, is the first stage of enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism. It is a significant milestone on the path to liberation and marks the beginning of the spiritual journey towards the ultimate goal of nirvana. It literally means one who has entered the stream, or one who has entered the path of the stream. This stream refers to the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the path taught by the Buddha to attain liberation from suffering. Key characteristics and qualities of a Sotapanna in Buddhism include breaking the first three fetters. A Sotapanna has gained insight into the Four Noble Truths and has eradicated the first three of the 10 fetters samyojana that bind beings to the cycle of birth and death samsara. These first three fetters are self-identity belief sakkayaditthi, the view of a permanent and changing self or soul; skeptical doubt vicikicca, doubts about the Buddha, Dharma, and the path; clinging to rites and rituals, silabbata paramasa, superstitious belief in external rituals and ceremonies as the means to liberation; reduced attachment to sensual pleasures; A Sotapanna has significantly diminished attachment to sensual pleasures and worldly desires, while they still experience ordinary human desires. These desires no longer dominate their mind. No rebirth in lower realms. A Sotapanna is assured of being reborn, at most 7 more times, and will not be reborn in lower realms, such as hell, the animal realm, or the ghost realm. Confidence in the triple gem. A Sotapanna has unwavering confidence in the Buddha, the Dharma, the teachings, and the Sangha, the monastic community, as the guides to liberation. Incorruptibility of the Dharma. A Sotapanna has unshakable faith in the law of karma and the inevitability of the fruits of wholesome and unwholesome actions. Purification of ethical conduct. A Sotapanna has cultivated a high level of moral virtue sila and observes the 5 precepts abstaining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicants. The attainment of Sotapanna is seen as a profound breakthrough in one's spiritual journey, as it sets a firm foundation for a further progress. A Sotapanna is assured of attaining full enlightenment as an arahant within a maximum of 7 lifetimes, and their commitment to the path becomes unshakable. The Sotapanna continues to cultivate wisdom and virtue, gradually moving closer to the complete eradication of all defilements and the attainment of Nibbana Nirvana. Sakadagami, translated as once returner, is the 2nd stage of enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism. It is a significant advancement on the path to liberation and marks the realization of a higher level of spiritual development compared to the Sotapanna. Stream enter a stage. The term Sakadagami is derived from Pali, the canonical language of Theravada Buddhism, and it means one who returns once. This refers to the once returning to the human realm for one more lifetime after their current one before attaining enlightenment. Key characteristics and qualities of a Sakadagami in Buddhism include weakening of sensual desire. A Sakadagami has significantly reduced sensual desire and attachment to sensory pleasures. Compared to an ordinary individual, they have diminished cravings for sensual experiences, which further distances them from the lower realms of existence, breaking the first 3 fetters, similar to a Sotapanna. A Sakadagami has eradicated the first 3 of the 10 fetters, samyojana, that bind beings to samsara, namely self-identity belief, skeptical doubt, and clinging to rites and rituals. Weakening of ill will. A Sakadagami has significantly weakened ill will, anger, and hatred. While they may still experience these emotions, they no longer become a dominant force in their mind. No rebirth in lower realms. A Sakadagami is assured of being reborn at most 1 more time in the human realm or a higher realm. Before attaining enlightenment, they have eradicated the risk of being reborn in lower realms, such as hell, the animal realm, or the ghost realm. Confidence in the triple gem. A Sakadagami has a deep and unwavering confidence in the Buddha, the Dharma, the teachings, and the Sangha, the monastic community, as the guides to liberation. Continued ethical development. A Sakadagami continues to cultivate moral virtue sila and observes the 5 precepts, refining their ethical conduct on the path to enlightenment. The attainment of Sakadagami is a significant milestone on the path to liberation. A once returner has significantly weakened the roots of defilements, and their progress towards enlightenment becomes more steadfast. They are considered to have 1 more return to the human realm, or a higher realm, before finally attaining full enlightenment as an arahant. The Sakadagami continues their spiritual practice, developing insight and wisdom to gradually overcome all remaining defilements and realize the ultimate goal of liberation, Nibbana Nirvana. Anagami, translated as non-returner or non-returning one, is the 3rd stage of enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism. It represents a highly advanced level of spiritual development. On the path to liberation, an Anagami is closer to enlightenment than a once-returner, Sakadagami, and has further weakened the fetters that bind beings to the cycle of birth and death, samsara. The term Anagami is derived from Pali, the canonical language of Theravada Buddhism, and it means one who does not come back. This refers to the fact that an Anagami has completely eradicated the lower 5 fetters, including sensual desire and ill will, and will not be reborn in the human realm or any lower realms after their current existence. Key characteristics and qualities of an Anagami in Buddhism include eradication of lower fetters. An Anagami has eliminated the first 5 of the 10 fetters, samyojana, that bind beings to samsara. These lower fetters are self-identity belief, skeptical doubt, clinging to rules and rituals, sensual desire, and ill will. Reduced attachment to sensual desire and ill will. An Anagami has significantly weakened all cravings and aversions related to sensory pleasures, and they are free from ill will and anger. No rebirth in lower realms. An Anagami is assured of being reborn only in higher heavenly realms or the pure abodes, where only Anagamis and Arahants are born. They have eradicated the risk of being reborn in the human realm or any lower realms. Confidence in the Triple Gem. An Anagami has unshakable confidence in the Buddha, the Dharma, the teachings, and the Sangha, the monastic community, as the guides to liberation. Weakening of conceit and restlessness. An Anagami has significantly reduced the mental factors of conceit, mana, and restlessness. Adhoka. An Anagami is considered an extraordinary being who has made remarkable progress on the path of liberation. They have achieved a level of spiritual purity and wisdom that makes them exceptionally close to attaining full enlightenment as an Arahant. The Anagami continues to cultivate their practice, further developing insight and wisdom to finally eradicate the remaining fetters and realize the ultimate goal of liberation, Nibbana Nirvana. The Arahant, also known as an Arahat or Arhat, is the highest stage of enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism. It represents the ultimate achievement on the path to liberation and is the most esteemed and revered attainment in the Buddhist tradition. The term Arahant is derived from Pali, the canonical language of Theravada Buddhism, and it means one who is worthy or one who is worthy of homage. The title signifies the profound realization and complete liberation from the cycle of birth and death samsara. Key characteristics and qualities of an Arahant in Buddhism include eradication of all fetters. An Arahant has eradicated all 10 fetters samyojana that bind beings to samsara. They are free from all defilements, including self-identity belief, skeptical doubt, clinging to rules and rituals, sensual desire, ill will, lust for existence in the form realm, lust for existence in the formless realm, conceit, restlessness, and ignorance. Complete liberation from samsara. An Arahant has broken free from the cycle of birth and death. They have attained Nibbana Nirvana, the state of ultimate liberation and cessation of suffering, absence of craving and attachment. An Arahant is completely free from all cravings, desires, and attachments. They have overcome all forms of greed, hatred, and delusion. Unshakable wisdom and insight. An Arahant possesses profound wisdom and insight into the nature of reality. They have a direct and unmediated understanding of the Four Noble Truths and the true nature of existence. Supreme moral virtue. An Arahant embodies the highest level of moral purity, sila, and ethical conduct. They observe the precepts with perfection and live a life of harmlessness and compassion. Freedom from suffering. An Arahant has completely transcended all forms of suffering and mental afflictions. They experience an unshakable inner peace and equanimity realization of non-self anatta. An arahant has realized the non-self nature of all phenomena. They understand that there is no permanent, unchanging self or soul within any being or entity. An arahant is considered a fully enlightened being who has attained the highest goal of Buddhist practice. They have purified their mind of all defilements and have reached the end of all suffering. The realization of Nibbana marks the ultimate liberation from the cycle of birth and death, bringing an end to the rounds of rebirth. The arahant serves as a living example of the potential for spiritual growth and liberation for all beings, and is deeply respected and venerated in the Buddhist tradition. Detailed descriptions. Puggalapannatti provides detailed descriptions of the qualities and characteristics of each of these types, helping readers understand the stages of spiritual progress and the qualities associated with each level of realization. Exemplary personalities. The text also includes descriptions of exemplary individuals from various backgrounds who have attained different stages of spiritual development. These examples serve as inspirations for practitioners on their own spiritual journey. Puggalapannatti is a valuable text for those interested in the development of wisdom and insight in Buddhism. It provides a comprehensive framework for understanding the different levels of spiritual realization and the potential for liberation and enlightenment inherent in all beings.